What's up, guys? Quadrant here. Going to be bringing you a Liquid.Bulba Clockwerk versus LGD. This is his legendary game where he plays extremely well. And I know that I had a request for some games maybe where you didn't know if the player plays that well, but and I will be doing some games where I'm just going to pick them randomly. I don't know if they win. I don't know if he does well. I'm just going to critique the pros play. But that is not this game. This game is going to be just about Liquid.Bulba and his amazing play versus LGD during the International 3. Now, Bulba is widely considered potentially like top 3 Clockwerk players in the world, probably. He's really valued in his Clockwerk play. And he's just, his hooks and his decision making in team fights are just great. Now, what he did right there, you'll notice he clicked on Magnus, which aggroes the creep wave towards him. Then he backs up towards his tower, which pulled 2 of the creeps back towards himself. That is called creep pulling, and basically when you pull the creeps, it makes it a lot easier to last hit. Notice what he did right there. He dodged the shockwave. Like he could have went up there to last hit, but he would get hit by the shockwave, so he backed up for just a second, then he went in for the last hit. It's pretty smart. So this video, if you're new to my series, I take games done by some of the top pros, and then I analyze how well they played, or how they play their heroes, their signature heroes. And right there you'll see he burned his mana. But anyway, the point of these videos is to just analyze, how we can get better at these heroes, just to purely enjoy these games, because they're usually played extremely well, really high level of skill, and it's really I really enjoy it anyway. I would sit here and watch these guys stream just for the fact of watching them play. It's like a work of art almost, just watching them do all of these things. Like, look at that last hitting, it's insane. It's just so much skill on display. So anyway, we are going to be looking at this game in particular as an example of a really great Clockwerk game. And he's just trying to get the XP on those last creeps, and I think he's going to check the rune, and I don't know if he knew it was down here. They did not have any wards, so I would assume he's just guessing and he got lucky. But he's going to lose 1 creep worth of experience. And it's important to note the timing there. He didn't leave early from the lane. Like, I've seen some mids, head out early to get the rune, and they're so desperate for that rune. But he did not do that. He waited until like about 2:12, 2:15 to go for the rune. And the reason that's good is, I mean, obviously it risks losing the rune to like maybe an enemy support or somebody rotating around. Oh man, this is such a risk. And right here, I want you to notice what he did. He gets skewered back into the tower, and then he attack clicks his own illusion to de-aggro the tower from himself. Let's go ahead and go back and look at this. So watch what he does. He'll attack click his own illusion to de-aggro the tower. He's gonna get skewered back. Then he's going to bring his illusion in, and he's going to attack click the illusion. So the illusion starts to tank his the illusion starts to tank the damage from the tower instead of him, and then he's able to salve up, and he's already back at full HP and man everything. Really, just really fantastic play there for sure. I think there's if he had not de-aggroed it, the Nature's Prophet was going to be TPing in there. You saw the sprouts coming up. And then Magnus would have continued pursuing, and he probably would have died almost for sure. And so extremely intricate play there that a lot of people would miss just watching the game, but basically prevented him from dying when most players would have died in that kind of situation. Now, his really good play did kind of make up for his misplay of going a little bit too aggressive on the Magnus near the tower. And he did have the illusions, and I think part of it is I think he may have just been trying to burn the mana off of the Magnus. He wasn't necessarily trying to kill him. As far as the Clockwerk versus Magnus matchup, normally Clockwerk would be able to kill melees if he traps them in the cogs, but the way Magnus works with skewer, he can almost always get away, or at least skewer back towards the tower, which makes it really dangerous for Clockwerk. Now, we'll keep in mind there, he only used 2 of the bottle charges up, and he put 1 back. And that's because he was already topped off, and he wanted that courier to be moving as quickly as possible, because with the new, the patch that happened a couple months ago with the bottle speed... Wait, did that happen before TI3? I'm not sure if it happened before TI3 or not. But basically, they changed it so that if you have an empty bottle, it slows it down, and I believe it did happen before TI3. So just looking at his skill build, he's got a max battery, so go for max battery assault and then max hook shot, or go for hook shot at 6 and then max battery assault. And the battery assault is an incredible amount of damage if you can isolate an enemy hero. And obviously, any advanced player that plays Dota for a while would understand this. But battery assault, if you don't realize it, it's magical damage. It does a mini stun, and it fires off every 0.7 seconds. Now, it attacks the target randomly, so if you have a bunch of creeps around you, it's going to be really, really terrible. You can use it to push a wave, but other than that, it's just not that great of a skill unless you can isolate the enemy hero. And it'll do 55, right now at level 3, it does 55 damage per pop. It lasts for 10.5 seconds, and it fires off every 0.7 seconds. So, if you do the math, that's like how many procs? 10 divided by 27. I don't know, it's somewhere in the area of 16, 17 procs or something like that. Times 55 damage. It's insane. Just at level 3 for 75 mana, it's like 1,000 something damage. Around 1,000 damage. 900 damage? Somewhere in there. But it just goes to show you that if you can cog someone in, they're almost always dead. Okay, so now the important thing here is he's hit level 6, right? He's hit level 6. It's pretty unlikely that he's going to be able to solo kill the Magnus. Clockwerk as a mid works in a way that he wants to rotate around the map. He wants to stay active. He wants to get pickoffs, and he'll help his team win the mid game simply by getting the pickoffs, creating plays for his team. At least a good Clockwerk. That's the way you want to play Clockwerk. So one thing I want you, I have seen this game now 3 times, including the time I watched it at the International. I haven't seen it all the way through. I started casting this twice. One time I just got so tired I had to stop because it was like 5 a.m. I was like, I must get another video done, and didn't quite get through it. I was like literally like stopping sentences and being like kind of nodding my head and being like, okay, all right. And like a half hour into it, I was like, I just can't keep going. I just gotta go to bed. But so I have watched this that time, and then I watched it at the International, and I think I just rewatched this, like the highlight videos from this match, because there's a lot of highlight videos made from this particular match. Now, one thing he has been doing, like you see him rotating around, and he's doing that. He's rotating around, but most importantly, I want to point out that he is staying in Fog of War until he started to last hit these creeps. And staying in Fog of War is super important. Now, notice here, he is immediately in vision of the creeps, right? And now the creeps are pushing. And he backs into the trees and TPs out. That's the thing I want to point out here. So, he's rotating top, and basically his rotation is secret. He's doing a very good job of keeping his rotation a secret. We've got Gyrocopter mid instead of Clockwerk now. So if Nature's Prophet's not paying really, really good attention on who exactly is mid, he might think that Clockwerk is still there. Alright, so notice what he's doing. He's setting up a position, the angle for the hook shot, and he goes around the range creep. That was such a precise hook shot right there. And then the nuke damage from TC and the battery assault just instantly cleans him up, basically. So that's like a supremely executed Clockwerk gank. And he did a number of things there, staying hidden, so that they weren't aware of his rotations, TPing in behind the trees, and then as he moved up, he stayed out of vision. And keep in mind, it was nighttime, so if this was a daytime gank, this would not have worked, because the daytime vision from Nature's Prophet would have spotted him out right there. The hook shot at level 1 is really not that great, so you kind of need to be behind trees or behind obstacles to make sure that you can get the hook off without them recognizing the hook, because the hooks are pretty easy to dodge if you know that they're coming. or at least you can dodge them probably at least 50% of the time. So to get the most reliable gank, you always want to be hidden, and hidden before you gank, or hidden before you actually activate the hook shot, and trying to move to an unexpected location. So now he's moving bottom. He's got his full mana and HP up, and I want to point out also that he was just jungling because he knew that he didn't have mana. He's basically he's down. He's got downtime in between Clockwerk's hook shots. He's got basically this 50-second downtime where he can't really get kills very easily. It's kind of risky for him just to walk up. It's unlikely that if he just walks up to a target and cogs them, that it's going to work out. So he goes into the jungle and gets some extra farm. Now, this is actually a really important play. Notice what he's doing. He's always trying to track their location. He's trying to see, can I hook shot in here? Do we have an advantage? And he's always trying to looking for that. And it looks like, so TC and Crystal Maiden rotate down to the bottom lane. So he decides to head back top because apparently the fight is done now. He kind of wants to go on this mid, but at the same time he knows it's kind of risky with 2 there. Clockwerk does have a really high amount of HP. So they're going on TC. TC does have a mech done at this point. So you see the mech saving TC. Now that mech turnaround shot is insane. It's so important to this fight. Now notice the hook shot into the Magnus and the perfect cogs. You probably could not have asked for a better cog than that. And then Fluff barely surviving the concoction. Just like everything fell like the mech choice or the mech timing there was perfect. Like if he didn't have mech, TC dies there. Liquid has to back up, and they potentially lose 1 or 2 additional kills because the Magnus RP catches out 2. And if TC is dead, then he can't do a static link because that static link drained Alchemist of all the damage that he could do, and then buffed TC up so insanely much because he had like the static link on him for at least 5 or 6, 7 seconds there. So really, really strong plays coming out there from Liquid, and just the timings on everything was just it was perfect. And the Clockwerk hookshot was just like icing on the cake that really capitalized that mech advantage that the team had. So he's got this downtime again, and he wants to stay off the map. Like, he wants to, again, stay hidden before he hookshots in. That's one thing that he's done so far. You'll see the 2 hookshots that he's landed have been at these 45-degree angles to the north-south mark. Now, most of the things that get in your way are, in the north-south, because that's the way all the creeps travel is north-south. And also the trees, most of the tree lines are north-south. So having these 45-degree angles to the objects that he's hiding behind are really, really important. He's debating about hookshotting in here. Oh, he misses the hookshot, just barely out of range. And so it looks like a great play here again. But he does miss the hookshot. That's not a big deal, though. I don't know if he can clean up this Magnus, maybe. Oh, okay, so notice what he did. He got in front of the Mag there. He knew the Mag was going to try to skewer forward, so he used that haste rune to get in front of the Magnus, so that when he did get skewered forward, he could cog him in, which is like a subtle but extremely important positioning choice that Bulba did there. That if he did not do that positioning choice, they would not have gotten the kill on the Magnus there. So. Now looking at his skill build, he's going to be maxing Rocket next. And this is a fairly common build right here. I think this is kind of the mid-ganking build. I think you'd sometimes go with Rocket levels over Battery Assault in the off-lane position where you're going to be relying on that Rocket for harass and for farm. So his hookshot is coming off cooldown again. And notice how he's always like 10 seconds or 15 seconds before a hookshot coming off cooldown, he's already in position again to go for another gank. Like, this is, like, again, this is so subtle but really important. He's trying to rocket in to see if he can get a hook behind the tower. They don't see anything, and they do have a ward. The Radiant have a sentry ward there, and this was back in the before the patch that changed the sentry wards and smoke. So during this time, sentry wards do detect smoked heroes. They're going to finish this off, and I think Naga Siren TP'd out. Yeah, he did. So looking at his item choices, he finishes the obviously rushes the bottle, finishes the magic wand. Magic wand is really powerful a mid game or early game item versus a Magnus, because a mid Magnus is going to rely on the shockwave spam, so you're going to get lots of charges on the wand. And then you've got the power treads, and that's just going to give him an extra, 100 and something 50-ish HP extra. So that 8 times 19. 8 times 19, it's like it's almost 150 exactly, almost like 148 or something. I don't have a calculator handy, so. But basically, he's going for the tank build, like where you, the idea is you use your hook shot in, initiate, get your, basically try to isolate out a team, an enemy teammate, an enemy, not an enemy teammate, an enemy, and then cogs them in, cogs your other enemies away from them, kind of split up the enemies, which is what he did for that Magnus and Alchemist. He cogged both of them in, which prevented them from escaping and also prevented his teammates from coming up close, like the Naga and the Magnus. They cannot walk into the cogs, otherwise they obviously get zapped and the mana is taken away from them. So, but he's going to be going for the eggs, I believe, is the next item choice for sure. So he's had his hook shot offline for a little bit, and wow, just look at all this farm Korok is getting here. Another thing I want to point out is that he is using his intreads. You'll notice he's switching to intreads every time he rockets, and so far, I've been watching this. I don't know if you've noticed this, but he's constantly switching to intreads for his rocket flare. Now, whenever he's doing the initiating with the hook shot, I doubt he's using the tread switching. Just because it's so much harder in the heat of the moment to switch treads properly. I think he messed up this tread switch there, because he switched it to agility when he rocketed. But nobody's perfect, right? Even the great Bulba is not perfect. I think that's the one thing that we can definitely take away from watching these games in detail, is that even the best players at their best heroes still make mistakes sometimes. Like he's missed a hook shot. Missed one hook shot out of 3, right? That he's landed, and it's part of the game, and it's okay to mess up, and especially as a newer player, like sometimes I get frustrated, right, when I make mistakes and my teammates make mistakes. It can be really frustrating, and I think it comes down to recognizing that nobody's perfect, being humble and recognizing, hey, it's okay to mess up, right? It's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn. That's how you get better as a player, ultimately. I think that's definitely one of the things that I take away from some of these games, all of these games that I cast, is that even pros make mistakes, and that's okay. And so it's okay for me to make mistakes too. Alright, so just looking at the position, let's go ahead and take a look at the other heroes, and kind of focus on what they've got going on. So we've got a Nature's Prophet with a Hand of Midas. Alchemist with the Shadow Blade. This is the kind of battle Alchemist build, if you recall from before Alchemist was changed in the big patch. So he still has the bonus HP, which makes him a much tankier target in the early game. Jakiro's got some wards, wand, smoke, and the Naga with a poor man's shield, and then boots of speed, magic stick. This is like the typical budget support items. Razor going with the Mech Phase, Wraithband, and the Mech. The reason Mech is so good on Razor is that Razor does damage based on how long he can survive in a team fight. Oftentimes, if he can survive and do that static link, constantly dragging. Oh, let's go. Oh, sorry guys. What happened there? And I do remember this from before. Basically, they wrapped around for a smoke gank, and they used the Bane ulti to pick up the Jakiro. And it really wasn't that special of a play. So I'm not going to rewind for it, but it was just a solid rotation. Smoked rotation is what that was. And I'll try to pay a little more attention to the minimap while I talk, rather than trying to. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss major plays like that. So looks like he did a little a rocket flare on the high ground here for the CM to D ward. It looks like. Pretty sure that's what he just did. Let's take a look at some of the other players here on the Dire side. So Gyrocopter has the BKB already, and in BKB it's basically just going to make him so much more tanky, and force the Radiant team to right-click him rather than use the nukes on him. CM just has the basic support items, Magic Stick, Boots. Clockwerk getting closer and closer to that eggs. And Bane just having the basic support items. So that's the item checkup, the 20-minute item checkup. I'll try to do another checkup here soon. And they actually do have an enemy ward here. There, they see it. This is before wards gave gold. They do not give gold anymore. Or at this point, they don't give gold. They do give gold now. So the tricky part that I really want to kind of focus on, this is like kind of, we've got to kind of watch patiently here. This is an intricate chess game going on in the back of basically the minds of these pros. They're trying to find the farm on the key heroes and then get the advantage. That's the goal, right? So Nature's Prophet's trying to push where he can, and Clockwerk's trying to stop that if at all possible. And he saw Clockwerk. Oh my God, that play! I remember this play. This play is so good. So he saw the Clockwerk, or he saw the Nature's Prophet dropping his treants, and then maybe getting like a one right click or two in the lane, and then Nature's Prophet backing up. Right, he backs up into the trees, and Bulba having the sense of mind to just think that, hey, maybe he's in the trees here. Maybe he's got just hiding. Sorry, maybe he's just waiting in the trees to push the lane again. With another set of treants, and just to get some XP and stuff. And so Bulba throws out that rocket, just fishing for the Nature's Prophet, and then had just in range for the hook shot too, just barely. So just really, really awesome play coming up from Bulba there. And keep in mind too with Clockwerk, as far as his abilities go, the Battery Assault does tremendous amount of damage. Cogs keeps them in, burns their mana, and then the Rocket Flare, a nice AoE. This also gives you vision, right? That's what he just used. And then the hook shot range increases significantly at level 11. So he had just hit level 11 going into that gank right there. If he did not have level 11 there, he would have definitely not landed that hook because it would have been too far. Everything kind of lining up for him, honestly. Like a number of plays here that he has made, it's just barely happened because he had the haste rune at the right time to block in the Magnus, to catch up to that Nature's Prophet to cancel the TP, the hook shot being level 11, and it takes a good player to take advantage of these advantages that he's getting, but it's something to keep in mind that things are lining up quite well for him. Actually, instead of going for eggs, he goes for the BKB, which is really interesting. I suppose it makes sense, given the circumstances. He wants to just kind of go in to the enemy lineup, stun probably their Alchemist is probably the one he wants to go for, and then so hookshot in the Alchemist, and then BKB. And right now the Alchemist doesn't have the right click. None of the enemy heroes right now have right clicks to kill you quickly. Right, none of these heroes have anything dangerous. There's no big damage items coming out yet. Alchemist just has a BKB Shadow Blade. That's nothing. Only hits for 150 basically. So if you're forcing the enemy team to right-click you with a BKB, you're going to be very, very survivable when you hookshot in. So I do like the BKB pickup in this situation. If this was later in the game, where the right-clicks matter a lot more, and he didn't have a BKB and he was deciding between eggs and a BKB, so if he wasn't doing as well, a big part of me would say to just go for the raw HP. It's going to help him survive more. Maybe raw HP plus Blade Mail, for example. I mean, that's my opinion, and that's the opinion of someone who does not play Clockwerk very much. So, looks like Radiant team smoking up, looking to challenge this Roshan attempt. And they are hanging back. They smoke themselves, which just in case, I guess the enemy has an observer ward back there. Oh, and they're going to do a wraparound Interesting. Looks like Bane is kind of baiting, making them think that maybe, hey, they're still over there. And a good hook shot coming in. They're going to pick up this Nature's Prophet, I think, for free. They're not going to lose anything. Yes, indeed. The triple BKB activation. That is kind of risky now because, for example, if they were to get in a team fight here in the next as soon as Nature's Prophet gets up, if the Radiant try to be aggressive, right? The BKBs have a, I think, 70-second cooldown. Let's see here. It's an 80-second cooldown on the BKB. So, if they were to try to be aggressive the moment Nature's Prophet gets back, all 3 BKBs are still going to be on cooldown. But I highly doubt that they're going to try to take advantage of that window. That window would be pretty small. That'd only be about a 30-second window. But it's something that they could have looked to do. I don't think they will. Plus, it looks like Liquid's not even in position. Not even in position to try to fight at this point. I think what they might have been able to do is try to just basically force Roshan there when BKBs run on cooldown. Because basically Liquid's strength right now is tremendously based in the fact that their BKBs negate so much magic damage on the side of LGD. So another thing that I want to point out is just how much Liquid was kind of undervalued at this point in their team's career. They were viewed as like this American team that hadn't really won any big tournaments, that hadn't really performed that great. They managed to pick off a couple games off of some good teams, but for the most part, they were getting stomped by the big teams, by the high value teams. And so the fact that they managed to trump LGD in this series is just like it blew everyone's mind. Basically, everyone went, "Wow, Liquid! This is what they're a force to deal with." They managed to pick off the former champs of the international, and it's just a huge deal. So now that the BKBs are off cooldown for Liquid, they go right back into the Roche pit and pick up the Roshan, and it looks like Gyrocopter picked up the Aegis, which makes sense. Gyrocopter is a very good Aegis carrier, and simply because he can wait to use that BKB until after he's already died and popped the Aegis. I mean, it's a little bit risky, right? Because if Gyrocopter, let's say Gyrocopter dies, and then immediately after that, several of his teammates get RP'd or something like that, and they just get bursted down. Then they go back to Gyrocopter 5 seconds later, and he's toast. You can't take them, 1-on-5 or whatever. Not until he's extremely farmed. Extremely farmed being probably like Divine Rapier level farmed. But yeah. Anyway, so looks like Clockwerk's going to be going for a 4-staff, or Bulba's going to be going for a 4-staff for this next item pickup. And let's go ahead and do an item check across the different heroes. Nature's Prophet picked up the mech. Interesting. You don't see the Nature's Prophet picking up the mech very often, so very interesting. And looks like the Alchemist is going to be going for that AC, which I think that's a great pickup for this Alchemist. He's going to have that HP boost from the ultimate at this point in time, and then that's just going to make him very survivable. And then it will also increase his attack speed. Obviously, he doesn't have that strong of a right click yet, but he'll have a really strong attack speed and a decent right click, 150 damage. Magnus has that blink, which last time I clicked on him, he had the blink. I just didn't point it out, but that's a huge pickup on the mag. And then we've got Jakiro, just again, some basic support items, the ward bitch, if you will. And Naga Siren picking up that Vladimir's offering. Interesting. That's actually a really good pickup considering they want to go with this armor up strategy with the AC and Vlads. That's just going to make all of LGD much more survivable versus the Gyrocopter flat cannon. And the Alchemist there just going invis and then hitting himself with the rocket, because the rocket does not do anything when you are invis. It'll just pop on nothing. Razor now has eggs. Eggs BKB. It's a huge pickup. The eggs, basically what eggs does on Razor is just allows her to start hitting buildings with her ultimate. So if you get a moment of time, like even like 3, 4, 5 seconds of a Razor with her ultimate hitting a tower, the tower will just melt. So just a really, really strong pushing. Like if you want to push down towers, one of the best pushing spells in the game, eggs on Razor. So we're going to go back to the Clockwerk's perspective here. Let's see, does Gyrocopter have anything else? Gyrocopter has a part of his BKB. Alright, so we've done the item checkup. Clockwerk now has his Force Staff as well. And he's going to be, again, using the Power Tread switch, switching to Int. And this is you know, Liquid have an advantage, right? They have a 10-3 advantage. They have a 2,000 gold advantage, which is not that much in all honesty. And they're wanting to push this. Now they're definitely taking their time. They're saying, "Hey, we are not going to risk pushing this out." Oh my God, that was a terrible RP coming out from is that Yao? Yeah, Yao. Man, that was one of those whiffs, and they didn't even manage to pick up the CM because he missed the skewer on the way back. I don't know. Maybe he realized, "Hey, I missed this. I'm just gonna get out of here. I'm not even gonna try to commit to this." If he had brought the CM back, it would have he would have just probably gotten frostbitten. Oh, a good hook shot coming in from Bulba, and then he just BKBs, and he's not going to get stunned up or anything. And there's almost nothing that the enemy team can do to stop that. And here's the Razor eggs. Look at that tower. Just it took less than a second to finish off the tower there with that 1/3 of its HP, and obviously everyone was attacking it too, but the Razor ult just doing so much damage. Razor ult reducing the armor of the tower, and then also doing a 63 damage per strike, and then every half second it does the strike interval. That's insane. That's just such high DPS for building pushing. So, alright, so we're looking at Bulba's positioning right now. He's hiding in the fog, and while he's hiding in the fog, hey, I'm going to do some neutrals. It's really important for a Clockwerk player, I think, to always try to stay off the map as much as possible, because it forces, like Nature's Prophet right now, could try to be pushing a lane, for example, or whatnot, and the fact that Clockwerk is missing forces him to play less greedy, right? He can't go off by himself pushing. Oh, sorry for the yawn, but it just basically it forces the enemy players to play a certain way. Like he probably could not pick off the Alchemist in a one-on-one situation. It'd be probably a really close battle. But the fact that Alchemist has a BKB means that the battery assault is not going to do anything basically. So it's an important. It's going to be really hard to get a pick off against the Alchemist. Like only if they had like maybe the Bane ult as well. Does Bane have a blink dagger? No, the Bane has a gem and an Ogre Club. Interesting. I wonder what he's going to build this Ogre Club into. Probably a BKB, I would imagine. Just so that he can try to ensure that he gets a full channeled spell off for his ultimate. Treants just scouting out. The looks like they're going to try to scout out the rune, but instead just scouting out their jungle and find a couple Liquid guys in here. I don't know what it is with my yawning. Sorry, guys. Alright, so Bulba just farming constantly. If you'll notice, he's been doing this all game. Using the rocket spam to farm. And also, he's been using it on the mini-map. He hasn't even been looking at the creeps or trying to time it or anything like that. He's just tread switching. And, oh, TC getting picked off big time. They do burn an RP to get that pick off, which is a fairly big deal. But this is, again, one of those chess games, right? Like, what do you... Oh, my goodness. Okay, so he's going to pop the Naga Siren ulti and the TP out. I don't think he can get him. Nope. No, he cannot. That Naga Siren sleep lasting 7 seconds. 7 seconds on that Naga Siren sleep. So, honestly, he could have just immediately TP'd out. Oh, you know what? No, he could not have. It was actually a pretty smart play coming out from the Naga Siren. Walking away from the Clockwerk first, out of the range of Battery Assault to make sure it does not cancel his TP. Looks like Liquid Fluff and stuff getting picked off here from the Alchemist. And that's the idea behind the Alchemist, right? You charge up the concoction, you drop the acid spray to reduce the armor, then the concoction does physical damage, and it just comes out of nowhere. You can't dodge it. It's very, very difficult, and you're stunned for so long. And against a Crystal Maiden that has such low armor, you're just in trouble. Great hook shot coming in from Bulba. Oh my god! And a followed up Bane ulti coming out on Sylar. Now, do they have the gem? Bane has the gem. They're gonna need that gem to try to pick off this this Alchemist. And the Courier almost dying again. The Courier hanging on by just a thread there. Bulba's gonna push this off. So they only ended up picking off the Jakiro, but they did force them back. I don't know what happened to the tower. I'm not sure if it got denied or what happened. The tower was destroyed by the Radiant. So they just got the tower destroyed, it looks like by neutrals where they were all distracted. Probably the catapult picked up the tower. But all in all, still a good engagement for Liquid. Whoa, my dog's barking here. Alright. Zeus. One of these days I'll do a video just on my dog so you guys can experience my dog. But I don't think I missed anything. Let us continue the cast here. So now he has the max cogs, which lasts for 8 seconds, and it deals 200 mana HP drain. So really strong HP drain, especially against a low int pool hero like Alchemist. I mean, obviously Alchemist is going to probably keep his mana pool up for the most part, just because his ultimate gives him that mana regen. But you never know. You never know, because the Alchemist, when he goes through his spells, he's got fairly low cooldown spells. Oftentimes he'll be fairly low, and if you drain his mana, perhaps he won't have the mana to do the concoction, like a second concoction, for example, or whatnot. So, all right. So, Dire managing to pick up another Roshan, and really great understanding coming out from Liquid here of when they can take the Roche and when they can force basically the enemy team to take a bad engagement, that kind of thing. And wow, the Gyrocopter picking up the Satanic. Interesting. This is a very early Satanic. Usually you try to pick up the Satanic after you get a little more damage, maybe an MKB into the Satanic perhaps. So it's a pretty surprising pickup in my opinion. Now, did the Razor pick up? The Razor actually picks up the Aegis, which is really interesting to me. Normally you would think that the Gyrocopter would be picking up that Aegis, and it looks like Gyrocopter even sold one of his slots to pick up that Aegis. I wonder if there was a little discussion about who picked up that Aegis. Great hook shot on Sylar, Invis. Now I don't know if they're actually going to be able to kill him here. Oh, the Bane. The Bane trying to do a nightmare on Alchemist before he TPs out, hoping that there was like that sliver of time where the BKB would wear off and he'd be able to use the sleep, but instead just ends up sleeping the Bulba instead. So Alchemist just too tanky. Like I said, Alchemist's regen, plus he has that BKB, so the battery assault does nothing. It just makes it really hard for Bulba to try to get a pick off on an Alchemist. They'd have to basically have their whole team there wailing on him to kill him before he TPs out. Alright, so there's going to be a smoke gank attempt, it looks like. Only 3 of them, though. This is a little bit risky. Now, Now the good thing about this is that because the CM is on the map, they might not expect the smoke gank as much. And there's only 2 top, Magnus and Alchemist top. So and Clockwerk's thinking about going up there. They're like saying, "Hey, let's go kill this guy." And obviously, Sylar probably cannot be killed by. Obviously, Sylar can't be killed by just the Bulba. But maybe if he gets some follow up here, great rocket, great hook shot. Now that's why you have the Force Staff right there. You cog them in, you Force Staff out again. Now, can they pick up this kill? Sylar just so tanky. Oh my god. And yes, they can. TC coming in with the ultimate to reduce his armor. That armor reduction helping just melt the Alchemist. The Alchemist normally not very tanky with very much armor, but the fact that he has the AC, the Assault Cuirass, really buffing up his armor and his survivability. Up to, I think it was 17? 17 armor. No, it's actually 20 armor. So having armor reduction is really, really strong when you're trying to deal with a AC'd Alchemist. Alright, let's go back to Clockwerk's perspective again here. Always keeping an eye for enemy. He saw the Jakiro illusions and he was kind of wishing that they were real. Now Clockwerk almost has that level 3. That level 3 hookshot. I wonder what he's doing here. What is he doing? He got the Blade of Alacrity. He put it down. He had the courier come pick it up again, and then he had the courier give him back. He's just little indecisive coming out from little indecision coming out from Bulba. Now the great thing about Satanic on that gyrocopter is that he just gets so tanky. He's already up to like 2.1k HP. The hook shot coming in from Bulba on the side. Such a great hook shot. And catching out 2 of the supports. I mean, what do you do in a situation like that? And his BKB wears off. The Jakiro Ice Path doing a lot of work there. TC, it looks like TC's gonna fall. They overextended. They're in trouble. The Magnus buyback, double RP. Oh, TC does have that Aegis, right? So he is able to stay in it. And I suppose the reason that the gyrocopter did not take that Aegis is because he does have the Satanic, and the Satanic is like a miniature Aegis, I guess. So the Magnus did buy back there, so it is a 2-for-2 with a Magnus buyback. So that is probably overall still a good fight for Liquid, but not a great one. They definitely overextended. They shouldn't have gone that far in. They should have just picked off that Magnus and then wailed on the tower with the Razor Eggs ulti. I think that would have been a much better choice. And they might have been able to pick off the tower before LGD got in position to try to repel them again. But at the same time, it was extremely risky because it could have turned out extremely poorly there. Like the Mag RP was actually really good on 2, but they just didn't have the follow-up necessary to keep pressuring them. So, like if the Mag had RP'd and then Concoction had managed to land on all 3 targets, I think that would have been a team wipe. But instead, the RP was a little bit, like the Concoction was a little bit too soon, so it couldn't land on the RP targets to continue their stun. Let's go ahead and do another item checkup, a 43-minute item checkup. So here we are with Nature's Prophets, got the Scythe of Vice and the Hand of Midas mechanism, the AC and Monkey King bar now completed on the Alchemist. The Monkey King bar giving a little attack speed, lots of damage, and more importantly, that True Strike for the gyrocopter with the butterfly. He has evasion, and it looks like we're going for that Divine Rapier on the gyrocopter, which is not really that surprising. When you have the Satanic butterfly, it can be really hard to kill the gyrocopter. So very nice. Magnus, just a BKB now on him as well. Nothing new on Jakiro. Poor Jakiro. Poor Jakiro. And it looks like Naga Siren's going to be going, I think, for a Heaven's Halberd, I believe, with that Sanj. And that would just enable the Razor or Gyrocopter, when their BKB wears off, to to be halberded up to prevent them from attacking. It'll also give them tremendously more survivability versus Gyrocopter and Razor, because the evasion of Halberd is really, really strong. So let's go ahead and hop over to the Razor. The Razor now has an AC. The AC pickup is a really important pickup for them because the Alchemist has that AC. So you kind of need an AC on your own team to counter the minus armor. So really important. And again, the minus armor on the AC is super important for picking off the Alchemist, because the Alchemist is going to be just insanely tanky with a high armor threshold. The Crystal Maiden picking up the Ghost Scepter. This is going to allow her to survive those encounters where she gets focused down with right clicks, like the Alchemist decides to right click or something like that. Normally she would die in probably 3 right clicks, but as long as she has the Ghost Scepter, triggers it in time, she will be able to walk away cleanly. Wow, this Korok going to town. He does not have the Divine Rapier yet, thank goodness. He was farming in a bad location. And wow, just look at Korok. He is just life-stealing through with that evasion, keeping him alive. And looks like Bulba hookshotting in on the Alchemist. A decent hookshot, but he does overcommit. He did not have the Force Staff yet up off of cooldown to keep him alive. And I'm not sure. I did not watch Bulba die. I was focusing just on the Gyrocopter there. I got tunnel visioned on Gyrocopter in that play. So let's go back to Bulba's perspective when he comes back online. So here we are with the Bane. The Bane dropping a Sentry Ward. I don't really know why he would drop a Sentry Ward there. They don't have a ward of their own at that location. He does have a gem already, right? So dropping a Sentry Ward there would only kind of watch out for smoke ganks if they have a ward at that location, and that's at that. Also, I guess the Sentry Ward does give just a little bit of vision, just a sliver, basically. And let's go ahead and head back to Clockwerk, Bulba's perspective. So Bulba managed to pick up the eggs, I think a couple minutes ago, and the eggs will decrease the duration on the cooldown. It's only a 12-second duration, down from 50, I believe. And so you're talking about potentially 2 stuns, maybe 3, depending how long the fight goes, but 2 or 3 stuns where you're able to lock down a BKB'd target. So this Alchemist, his BKB is down to 5 seconds right now. And if he gets hookshotted after he pops that BKB, he's going to be down for 2 of those 5 seconds, stunned by the BKB'd hookshot. The hookshot does go through BKB. The stun does. The damage does not. The stun goes through, though. So that's a really important thing to know about Clockwerk, is that hookshot goes through BKB. The Meg ulti goes through BKB. The a Basher would go through BKB. They don't have a Basher, though. So just looking at Clockwerk's positioning, he's trying to always be in a position where his team is not in the way for a hookshot. Pops the BKB. Hookshot's in. Magnus gets the... Oh, what a disaster for LGD. They group up. The triple hookshot stun is just insane. And the turnaround... This game is ridiculous. Oh my god. Magnus coming back and TC finishing him off. Wow. Just wow. That hookshot landed on 3. I think that was the key, right? LGD all grouped up. It was like a miniature RP. Now an RP lasts, let's see here. Where is my mouse? There it is. An RP lasts hero stun duration 3.75 seconds. So an RP would last a little bit longer. But the hookshot, my god. The 2-second stun on all 3 of those just allowed Liquid to turn it around so quickly. Razor popping the ulti. I think it was a smart play, picking up the Naga, preventing them from attacking Roshan, and then them finishing off Roshan really quickly. and picking up that Aegis. But if the Aegis had maybe gone on the Alchemist instead of the Magnus, I think that fight would have maybe been a lot different. Also, if maybe Mag had just stayed back. Like, Magnus did not need to run in there, right? Like, if Mag had just stayed on the other side of the river, waited his time, and then blinked in, RP'd like 2 or 3 of Liquid's heroes right as Clockwerk hookshotted in, like, I'm pretty confident LGD would have just decimated that fight. But that's not what happened. Instead, Liquid having better decision-making overall for sure in that fight. And looks like he's going to get the hookshot. Great hookshot. And the cogs. And the battery assault. And there's nothing Xiaowei can do here. He's just dead. Bulba popping the BKB, anticipating the ice path. Oh, and the hookshot's off cooldown again. Hookshot's off cooldown again. They're thinking about going in. They were thinking about it. Great hookshot again. The ice path. The ice path actually. Oh my god. Bulba dies in 3 right clicks from the Alchemist. Jesus. The ice path froze Bulba as he went through it on the hookshot. So that was very interesting. But that just shows you the power of eggs on Clockwerk. Enabling him to do 2 hookshots in such close concession, I believe. Not concession. Concession? No. No. Consecutive is what I'm going for, but the other version of consecutive. Alright. I was an English major in college, and I can't believe I can't... Oh, whatever. Alright, so... Enfeeble up on the Alchemist. BKB. He's going to just help focus down this... the Alchemist there. And look at this. Are they going to just take the game right here? They might. They might have what it takes to finish this off. They have all 5 up. LGD going in. And the great hook on 2 people. Again, just the constant disable. 4-staffing out. Trying to get over here. They're just going to go for the right clicks on the Ancient. A little bit of miscommunication, I think, from Liquid. Oh, the hook shot again! What the... Bulba just taking advantage of that hook shot. The 4-staff. Kiting people around. Oh, that last play was beautiful coming out from Bulba. So anyway, guys, that's the game for Liquid.Bulba. I'm glad I finally got around to making this game. It's been a game I've been wanting to cast for a few weeks now. And like I said, I've tried casting it twice before. I really enjoyed the game when I first watched it, and going the second time, it was still a really fun and interesting game to watch. So if you guys, by the way, if you guys have a game that you are interested in having me cast, please send me the replay for it, the game ID. And it has to be a fairly recent game. So if you see just an awesome game on a pro stream or in a tournament or something like that, and just let me know. Like, let me know the games that would be really entertaining and fun to watch. So that's it. So please subscribe. Give me any feedback on my casting. I know I missed a couple of points there, but overall I thought that was a fairly decent. I feel like I'm getting better at casting, so I'm happy about that. Anyway, guys, that's it for the Liquid vs LGD and focus on Liquid.Bulba analysis. Quadron signing out.